Congratulations again. Is this your mama? Hi, Mama. We watched him in action the other day. He's pretty awesome.
He is awesome.
I know. And he didn't even offer. He didn't even offer. That was kind of
Hey, if they were in a kettle platform, that's for rescue.
I was glad you really got one.
No, 2 weeks ago they had a recognition for all non-majors. That's one of the events that was great. I would have worked 2 jobs. Give me a heads up. I was like, that's great. The schedule's already set.
I could tell when we were like, hey, it's Wednesday. You're like, right? Next week, we'll give you one.
Yeah, Leslie, they had to pay for the schedule, so I'm going to reduce my, because I usually run it Wednesday, Saturday.
What do you tell your grandson?
Hey, I just got your message. No, but that doesn't. Hey, remind me what it was.
Life skills student that wasn't listed at all on
So
most of the
what
tests.
happens is usually the core codes that are used for those kids don't generate tests. And so just if they're not there, don't worry about it.
The teacher was freaked out.
So I'll double check it before tonight is over. I'll double check it and have you answer. But that's what I found at Canyon Butte the vast majority of times.
But they did do the first test. There was an English test.
So that's been happening. They've got in English and sometimes it's science too.
Yeah, we didn't
But-
have science and we didn't have math.
But
Okay.
the math has almost always been eliminated.
Really?
Yeah, it's just because the core code doesn't kick out the right time.
So if the parent was upset because their one child was treated differently because of their disability, I think that's it.
So the only way to fix it would be to adjust the core code and then wait the 5 days for it to go back through the system, which
Where did the core codes come from?
so your registrar and your counseling. And do you have a new registrar? Okay. Oh. So one thing you could do. I wonder if I can check it. I can check it and see.
Sorry.
But I'm
One more thing.
I'm 99% certain that that's what the issue is. So Sorry. I know. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, now I gotta figure out a way to get back there, huh? Oh no, you're totally fine. I'm gonna go out and about. I missed my opportunity to get to the front. It's all good. Hello, what?
Trying to come back here?
Well, I was gonna, but do you know, I'm totally fine. Because I'm not trying to make it through there. Is my issue. Yeah, I'm gonna go out and about.
I hate it when we're late. Because we're supposed to not be tardy, right? Good evening and welcome to our board meeting. It's exciting to see the room full. Hopefully you're here to see all these great kids perform for us. I need to excuse board member Bruce Jardine, who's out of town. We will miss him, but excuse him. The agendas are posted around the room for your convenience. And we will begin this evening with a musical presentation from the Lomond View Bell Ringers, directed by Brittany Bennett and accompanied by Lori Stokes. And we'll turn the time over to you guys. If you will introduce what you're going to do. After, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance, who will be led by Ethan Albertson, a student at Lomond View. Please.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Bennett, I understand that this is not a normal class. They come early in the morning, stay late at night, volunteer on everybody's part, including the directors and the piano players. That deserves a well-rounded applause. Parents, do we have parents in here that are willing to get the kids there? Raise your hands, come on, we gotta let you, thank you. Thank you so much. Job well done, thank you so much. I haven't even heard that well done at the place in Salt Lake where they do, never mind. Thank you so much. Board, our item on the next item on the agenda would be the consent calendar. I would entertain a motion to accept. So moved by Doug, second by Dean. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you, board. As people shuffle in and out, that's all right, not a problem. This exciting day, exciting board meeting as we get to recognize some outstanding staff and people that we have, and we're very lucky. We have new ones, old ones, and older ones, and so we have the best in the nation. And with that, we'd like to go to our first year teaching award. Cammie Alexander, please.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent. I am super happy to be here tonight to talk about a woman who needs many kudos. She's amazing. Our first year teacher for elementary education this year is Ashley Johnson. Did Ashley make it? There she is. Come on up here. We were waiting for you. Come on up. I'm an old fifth grade teacher, and I mean old, but also former. And I can tell you that fifth grade was amazing to teach, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Ashley is at North Park Elementary, and she's got a class full of fun kids. I kind of am wondering if I should do combat gear for you tonight as a gift, but you know, this woman handles everything, and does so with dignity and grace and professionalism. I'm so impressed with what you do. So, meet Ashley. I did some research on you. I hope that's okay. Besides being a first-year teacher, she's a wife. She's a mother of 4, and I hope we get to meet the littles in a minute. I understand you're a camper.
Yeah.
And an athlete.
Yes.
And a movie watcher and a reader.
Yes.
So she has some mad skills outside of teaching as well. But we're here tonight to celebrate her as a teacher. So I've put together a couple of pictures, and I had someone do a little digging on what kids would say about you. And the top 4 vote getters were funny. Keep that going.
Okay.
Hardworking, which I can attest to. Kind, and I can attest to that as well. And a good kidder. I thought that was great. Don't ever lose that sense of humor. Those kids need our sense of humor. They need our love and compassion. So these cute guys, I was quite entertained by the pig thing. Is there a story behind that?
He wanted to earn being able to bring a pig to share with the class, and so he earned it. And he has I guess his parents have a farm, and they have lots of pigs, and they brought this pig to school on a leash, and the kids loved it.
That's so awesome. I had to kiss a pig once. It was horrifying. Yeah, but they are cute little things. So when I was reading Mrs. Zoki's letter, and I don't know if you have a copy of that. You do. Okay, you do. So I put all the words from her letter in a Wordle. And what you see up here, the biggest words, are the words that were used most often in Mrs. Zoki's letter. So you can see students is the biggest, most often used word. But there are some other smaller words I want to draw your attention to up here. One being support. And Becky talked a little bit in her letter about the support her students get from her when they're struggling, either academically or emotionally. I can't say enough about how amazing that is and how important that is. So thank you. Wisdom, expertise, and passion were the three first words Becky used to describe you. But I'll also look at some of the other words. You've got focus, experience, expertise, outstanding, challenging. It is challenging every day, and it's worth it every day, isn't it? I just thought you needed to see all these words used to describe her. Becky told us in her letter that if she didn't know better, she would never believe you were a first-year teacher. That says a lot about your wisdom, your expertise, and your passion. So, Prize Patrol Day, that was super fun. We had the opportunity to go into her class as they were transitioning from one event to another. And the kids were pretty thrilled and excited. There was a buzz in the air. And I believe Dr. Stevens asked for a few words, and I remember them saying, she's very nice. Is that correct? She's very nice. She's a good teacher. She cares about us. You can see in this picture right here, she's got some characters. And I believe the superintendent put his hands on one of them's shoulders just to try and settle him down a little. But this is a crew who loves learning and love their teacher. So, I want to go back, sorry. This was a line that Becky used in her letter to you. And I want you to remember this, because someday you're going to be old like me. And to know that what you do changes lives every day is incredibly amazing. I feel like you should have a superpower t-shirt, because her superpower is teaching, and she does it very well. So, in behalf of the board and the superintendent and elementary education, may I just with whole heart say, you are amazing. I have lots of admiration and respect for you. Thank you. I'm going to hand the mic to her so that she can introduce those folks that are on the other end of the curtain at home.
My husband, Shane Johnston.
Have him stand up. Thank you, Shane.
My oldest son, 10-year-old Travis. Next is 8-year-old Carity. Our 6-year-old Sawyer. He's with Grandma. And then our baby 3-year-old Olivia. My mom and dad are here. Ken and Carol G. Hackey, and my sister Crystal's here with her crew of kids. I think it's Liam and Xander, Sazy, and my principal, Becky, and Oki and Michelle Street.
Let's give her a big hand. She deserves this.
Mrs. Oakey, congratulations and thank you for what you do at North Park. The principal of North Park is right there, Mrs. Oakey. Congratulations, Ashley. So, our next first year teaching award is for secondary education. Dr. Rod Belknap, please.
Great. Thank you, Board. Superintendent Stevens. We like that picture. I want to just take an opportunity here to have Blake Tanner come on up from Orion Junior High School. We did a presentation on Blake a couple of months ago, so in an effort to not recreate the same presentation, we've tried some different things today. So it's great to have Blake here and to recognize him as our first year teacher, one of the first year teachers of the year in secondary education. As a boy at Hooper Elementary, we spent a lot of time trading cards. And one of the most important cards you could get trading cards growing up was someone's rookie card. And if you look up there, these are a few of the people that we might have tried to get back in 1978 or 79 at Hooper Elementary. Among them, Michael Jordan or Dwight Gooden. Wilt Chamberlain, who's a little bit before my time, averaging 37 points a game. These are remarkable numbers. Here are a few more. And in an article not long ago, as they're leading up to the draft, the NFL draft, they talked about some of the best rookie years that have ever been had in any sport. And these are a few of the athletes that they mentioned. The one on the right is Shoeless Joe Jackson, if there's anyone here old enough to remember Shoeless Joe playing in 1911. He batted .408. The question I'd like to pose to all of you as we talk about Blake Tanner is this. Who, as Carl Sagan said, who are we if not measured by our impact on others? Now, oftentimes we celebrate a lot of different things in our society today. But the most important question we can ask is that one right there. Who are we if not measured by our impact on other people? And I can tell you, after spending some time with Blake and his class, if you look up here at some of these pictures, this will tell you how we measure someone's impact on others. I've been to Blake's class a number of times, and every time I'm in there, there is an energy in that room, there's an innovation, there's an opportunity to make mistakes, and someone that's going to help you all the time. And we'll talk about some of the things that his students had to say about him a little bit later, but I just wanted to consider your success as directly proportional to the number of lives you touch. And as you look at some of those pictures, you can see when Superintendent Stevens went out to award this in our leadership, one of the things that you could tell in that room is how much the students really liked being there. It's really a feeling about wanting to go to Mr. Tanner's class. And it was ironic that I went in to talk to him the other day about a couple of things, and as I was walking down the hall, there's a student was out of class, and I said, as she was walking towards class, I said, "Hey, where are you headed?" She said, "Mr. Tanner's class." And I said, "What do you think about Mr. Tanner?" She goes, "My favorite teacher." So she said the right thing. We were headed, yeah. And a couple of things that Blake does that I think is really neat. He helps with a reality town. There are different things that go on in a school, and Blake is always a team player, looking to try to contribute and help administration and other people with things. His classes range from construction to sewing. You can see that each end of that spectrum. And as you look up there, you can see some of the projects, sewing and cooking, are things that maybe, I don't know, you'd have to ask his wife and his family to see if he's a good cook. Okay, good. So he qualifies. But he's doing a great job there, and he does lots of other things with construction. They're putting together, they're pouring cement and working with other things in there. So it's really quite amazing. I think Blake's a first-round pick. And when you look at some of these comments by Amy Hall, a teacher, one of his peers, said Blake is able to motivate students who at times feel marginalized. Kip Christensen, your old teacher, this is a teacher at BYU that I talked with, said this about him. Sent him a text last night. He's innovative and helps create solutions. He loves to figure things out on his own. Most of all, he cares. He has the heart of a teacher. He adapts quickly and is an amazing team player. I felt like that was a great representation of who Blake is. Another one of his peers said Blake's one of the best teachers I've ever had the pleasure of teaching with. He's energetic and willing to try something new. Matt Patterson, who's here, his principal, said you can't help but smiling and enjoy being in Mr. Tanner's classroom, as it is full of energy, teaching energy, passion. It's so creative and he's visionary. His positive attitude is infectious, and you can feel that every time you're around him. And his students continue. Students say this about him. Piper said he's so easy to talk to and he's fun. Abe said he's genuine, he's nice, he's the coolest teacher ever. I didn't make up these names. You can actually probably figure out who these people are. Ethan encourages people to do hard things. I feel like he wants me to succeed. Casey said he's good at making learning fun. She also said that he can get back at you in a good way. So that's kind of funny. Maddie said he's always in a good mood. I feel good here. He makes it happier and I want to go to school. He's energetic and nice and positive. Interestingly, 2 of the students that we talked with used the term loving. And I felt like that was not only a great thing to say about Blake, but something to say about education. To feel love in a classroom, something all of our students need. And I really think that's a reflection of who he is. Carson said he likes teaching. You can tell he wants to be there. Tanner said, I couldn't believe a man could sew that well. It's a real problem, the expectation just went up for things around the house. So he's okay with mistakes. Jared said he's earned our trust and we trust him. I mean, these are comments that we'd all like to hear from students. And we can all be here tonight and hear these things about Blake. It's a special thing to spend time with students and know how much they love and appreciate him. And that's why I started out by saying these are important statistics. But let me tell you what I think is the most important statistic. He's had 355 students. I kind of put the decimal there because it almost looks like a batting average, doesn't it? 355, that's what he's batting. 355 lives inspired is what he did. He's taught 5 different courses this year: construction, foods, and sewing. Sorry, it's misspelled. 80% manufacturing. 80% of his students passed the manufacturing class. Thousands of projects that he's turned out this year. Some of them we brought last time when we left over there, and I think some of you even have them. Hope you haven't poured out that puzzle, because that's hard to put back together, isn't it, Robert? He's ranked as one of the most beloved teachers at Orion, and in a short time he's made quite an impact on people. I love the quote there: a teacher affects eternity and can never tell where their influence stops. Truthfully, go back to a baseball analogy. Those of you that have seen Moonlight Graham, Field of Dreams, Shoeless Joe Jackson. At one point in the movie, Moonlight Graham actually has to choose between education, his profession, and baseball. And they ask him later, that must have been a difficult choice to choose, becoming a doctor, which is what he was going to do, or playing baseball. And he chose being a doctor. And this is what he said: if I'd only gotten to be a doctor for 5 minutes, no, that would have been a tragedy. The truth of the matter is we're so grateful that someone like Blake chose teaching. Their impact is immeasurable over time. And when you look at what some of those statistics of some of those athletes were and what their impact is, it's not nearly what the impact of those 355 students and over the course of 37 years, that's how long he's going to teach, and 40. It's a lot of students, and we're really grateful for Blake in our district and the impact that he's making on students. So I would say that if you could get Blake's rookie card right now, it'd be a real valuable thing, which is why I brought several Blake Tanner rookie cards here tonight. Give him a hand.
Alright, so I have today tonight my wife Abigail, our 6-month-old son Chadwick. That was fun, start the school year off. I gotta take a week off for a kid. And then I got my parents, Jolene Tanner, Pat Tanner, and then my wife's parents, Kim and Jeff Chadwick, with me here tonight, as well as both my admins. I want to say thank you. They've allowed me to do a lot of crazy things. I go to them, hey, what do you think about this? Sure, try it. And then a great counselor, she's come to teach in my class, Susan. And Valley Town, she's let me do that stuff. It's been fun.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Blake. And Matt Patterson, please just wait. That's the principal. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for what you do out there. That's great. Let's move on to the next one. Our special education would be our first year teaching award. Quinn Carlizzi, please.
All right. Board Superintendent, it is my honor to present to you Megan Lefevre as the recipient of the first year teacher award for special ed. Megan is one of a kind. She was hired at Bonneville High School and to be a life skills teacher. And our life skills classroom has students with multiple or severe disabilities. And that is a hard role to step into, and to make it even more difficult, she stepped into a hard classroom. And the reason that it was so hard is because she had to follow a rock star. And the bar was set high. Everything was flowing just where it should be. And we have a first-year teacher that comes in and has to maintain that. And she has filled that void flawlessly. She has done a great job. Her teaching partner in the other life skills classroom had to follow another rock star. And so they were teaming up together on that, and they just did a fabulous job for us. So you have done great. This is the perfect picture. We found this. She's at a dance, and she's got this hat, and I thought that is the perfect picture because this woman wears a million hats in her profession. It's not always just paper hats. If you look around the pictures that we have here, she's really padding her resume because now she has experience in the custodial service industry. She's got college recruiting, cheerleading. She's got motivational speaker to add to her resume. She's got the therapist. There's a lot of therapy that goes on in that classroom, and to probably your peers. And so you've got therapists on there. You're an educator. You're a fantastic educator. You're a friend. And I think the top right one might be superhero. And I think the job that you do, you could wear that proudly, that you are a superhero. The more people you talk to, the list just continues to grow and grow and grow. So the hats she wears, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more that we could get on her. When we turn our attention to the classroom environment, it is amazing. You walk to her door to her classroom,
And she's got a poster on the door that says, I have to look, "The sky's the limit," is what it says. And it's pretty easy to put a poster on your door that says the sky is the limit. She walks the walk, she talks the talk, and the sky is the limit. It was backed up in a letter from her principal, Brock, who nominated her, and he spoke about the students with disabilities, and she doesn't focus on the disabilities, she focuses on their abilities. And the sky is the limit for these kids. She pushes them to do hard things, and just getting them to do hard things isn't enough. She pushes them to do hard things really, really well. And the hard part about that is that takes a lot of support and a lot of energy and a lot of effort. And she is there to support her students every step of the way. If we look at this picture, there's a lot going on. I went to her classroom, and we've got volcanoes on the bulletin boards that are just detailed and beautiful because the students need that extra support of the visual. She's got science experiments with the water cycle, so it's not just reading it out of a book or putting it on a PowerPoint. These kids get to see how the water cycle really works right in front of their eyes. This picture down here with it looks like I took a picture of the lights. And I got all these pictures in, and we took pictures, and every one of them I had to keep cropping because there's a ball in the way. I'm like, what is that ball? So I went back to the classroom. She's got the solar system hanging from the lights to give kids these visual aids of what the solar system is like. And so she puts in the time and the energy to support them. It's a real messy picture in the bottom left. There's a lot going on there, and I had to do a double take when I passed by it. That bookshelf is set up with about 1 million different types of manipulatives. Anything that can help a student see it, feel it, touch it, understand it is in there, and she uses those things to help our students, her students, understand the concepts they're being taught. Now we turn our attention to the right-hand side of the screen, and I go, you got a lot going on there. That is the schedule for her students, every single student, from bell to bell. This is where it gets crazy because she gives her kids, I look at that as opportunities and experiences that she gives her kids all day long, every day. And not just in her classroom. She is a believer in inclusion. She wants her students participating with the general ed students. She brings the general ed students into her classroom to participate with them. So she's got 1 million things going on. She's juggling not only her student schedules, the adult schedules, the best buddy schedules, and she does it all and just makes it look easy. We're going to turn our attention to relationships. We all know that teachers build strong, long-lasting relationships with students. Megan smiles a lot, and that's number one. She has this contagious smile. It just catches on. Students, you can't put anything past the student. They know if you're being real or not, and they know that she is being real with them. When we went to visit her, the administration of Bonneville said she is the happiest, most smiling person on our staff. When I used to teach at Bonneville, they called me Smiley because I'd walk through the halls and smile, and she makes me look angry. She is just smiling all the time, and the kids know it, and she builds those relationships. Some of the things that the students said about their teacher is that she's good at everything, especially listening when a student needs to talk. And to be able to put school aside for a second and just help the student with their personal needs is huge, and they understand that, and they appreciate it. Think about the population that she's working with the next one. I thought I was too nervous to get emotional, so she protects me and is always there to help when I need it. She's good at calming other students down. She can have bad days. She has bad days like we probably can't even understand in her classroom, and you would never know it because she puts it all behind her and focuses on what the students need. She helps me with science. I think that's evident with all the pictures. They learned that mustard doesn't freeze when you put it in a freezer. You gotta get them the good stuff. She teaches me math. She teaches me how to write. She likes all of her students. And then the last thing, we're the educators. We're supposed to teach kids. And what they said is she's always willing to learn. So I thought that was great comments from our students. We turn our attention to the adults. They have a lot to say. She's patient, energetic. She is kind. She finds ways to accommodate students. She gains the trust of every student. They look up to you in multiple different ways. Positive, resourceful. The last line, I just absolutely love it. One person says, I want to be like her. Another person says, I want to be half as good as her. And one person just throws it all and says, I just want to be her. And what a compliment that is. I think we can say from the district, we are lucky to have you as a teacher in our district. We thank you. I know the students thank you, and they appreciate you being your teacher. And I think the first thing Megan would do is turn that around and say, I'm the one. I'm thankful to be able to serve these students. She puts it all back, her energy, her positive attitude back to the students. So we're grateful you walk the walk, you talk the talk, and that's why you're here right now. So congratulations. Board, Megan Lefevre. We're going to ask you if you would introduce the people that came to support you.
All right, we have Kyle, this guy I'm dating right now, my dad, Gary, and Andrea, the person I replaced teaching, and Christina, my mentor, and Jamie, the other severe unit teacher that I worked with, and then my awesome principal, Brock Mitchell, who helps me and helps my students every day. So, yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Brock, please wave one more time. Thanks. Congratulations. Congratulations, Megan. The next first-year classified employee for 2019 will be presented by Kevin Cedarholm and Lori Rasmussen, please.
Well, good evening, Superintendent Stevens and Board. It is Kevin and my privilege and honor to introduce to you Jan Mueller. So Jan, if you'll come up.
Just so you know, this is kind of special for me and Lori because we both served as principals and Jan was our head secretary, so this is a neat opportunity for us.
It's an honor. It takes two of us to even begin to honor Jan in the respect that she deserves. She's just the most amazing person, and you'll come to see that in just a sec. If you drive by Pioneer or to or from Pioneer Elementary, on the freeway or the underpass, you will see images of pioneers. And I see these every day when I'm coming to work still to this day. And the thing about it is it couldn't be more fitting that Jan works at Pioneer Elementary. Because just like the pioneers, Jan's journey has been a test of endurance and grit. I mean, she had to put up with Kevin and I. But it's fueled by her compassion and her love of others. And you won't find a more caring individual. And as Kevin and I did this, and we know firsthand, but as we talk to people, the first thing out of everybody's mouth was, she is the heart of the school. She's the face of Pioneer Elementary. And they can't imagine, by the way, she's retiring. And they can't imagine what it's going to be without her, nor can I.
So, Jan has worked for Weaver School District for 23 years, all at Pioneer Elementary. Jan started as a fact aide at Pioneer Elementary, and she's been the head secretary at Pioneer Elementary for the last 20 years and trained several principals.
I was new my first time out, and honestly, I learned so much from Jan. A few more stories, and Kev, join in here. I know all of you have been to elementary school or been in an elementary school, but the duties of a head secretary, the range is it's unbelievable. On any day, you would see Jan attending to sick kids, calling moms, helping teachers that are in a panic because they need something. We had all kinds of things going on, and the thing about it, much like was said, Jan's smiling, never frustrated, never flustered, and serving others without question, often not even thinking of herself.
Jen is a woman of strength, dignity, grace, and don't forget fun. Jen has a side to her that I know her family has probably seen. She is very professional. She doesn't just come across as very professional. She is very professional, but there is a side to her that likes to have some fun too. And there were a few pranks that went on at the school, and Jan was a part of those. But I guess if you had one word that would describe Jan, that would be calm. Pioneer is a school that has many issues from time to time. It has great students, great parents. It was a pleasure to be there, but there seemed to be something happening every day. And I think the thing that I will remember the most about Jan is it really didn't matter the emergency. It really didn't matter what was going on. Children, teachers, and parents knew that they could walk into the office and be calmed down by Jan. She had an ability to do that.
I'm just going to speak to Jan's strength for a little bit. When I was there with Jan, she went through a personal trial of cancer. And I remember very often she would have had a treatment and not feeling well. And I would be in my office and I could hear and listen. And never once did Jan falter. Never once did anybody have to ask her for anything twice. And they would come in and I would think, wow, what a strong lady. They would come in and be complaining about something of the day, something, and here's Jan, just giving. And there's a quote that reminds me of Jan I just want to share. And it talks about there are few in life that can come through a fire carrying buckets full of water to serve others. And that speaks to Jan. It absolutely does. Here, we talk to others, and I don't know if Brian's here tonight. Brian's her principal. He's hunting. Okay, so this is Brian Anderson and some of the thoughts that he shared with Jan. Jan goes above and beyond to make sure that students and parents feel welcome. She is the first face that visitors, students, and teachers see as they come into the school, and her inviting personality makes everyone feel at home. Jan has strong ties to this community, and boy does she. She knows every student and every family in that school, and everyone that knows her appreciates her kind and beautiful heart. Jan is what makes the school shine.
Orma Bishop, who's worked with Jan for many, many years, who happens to be here tonight with her husband. Just wave there. Gerald, who's been a long time substitute for our district for many years too, said this: as I worked with Jan for 20 years, I found a very classy, professional lady. But because we are partners in crime, all I can say is what goes on in the office stays in the office. I know that to be true, and that's a good thing because she could talk for a while. Probably won't give you the microphone after this is over. One could find Jan doing many things that go beyond the job description. She made everyone feel as if they were her top priority. Kids were always first and foremost with Jan, and I can second that. Kids were her priority. They loved her and adored her.
This is a teacher at Pioneer. Robin Zellmer's been there for some time, and I'm not going to read all of that, but she just talks about how, she was hoping Jan would hang on until she retires, and selfishly, she's sad about that. She talks about the close family at Pioneer with Jan at the helm, and that's so true. Jan is that leader, always planning fun things and going the extra mile. She says at the bottom, I wish I could recount the numerous funny stories that she often tells about a child that crossed paths with her on any given day. And there are many, just ask her. I know that I speak for all the staff at Pioneer when I say we're going to miss Jan greatly. She will be hard to replace as she is one of a kind. We wish her much happiness, sleeping in some, going for walks and hikes with her family and friends, and spending time with her mother. And just doing whatever she wants, when she wants, she has earned it. As we talked to Jan the other day, she told a story. And this just kind of sums up who she is. And this is through a child's eyes. Jan often helps kids with medicine in the office if they need meds or their insulin. And one little guy came down, and Jan helps every day. And she was typing, and so he looked at her, and she was kind of working on something. And he said, "What you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm working." And she said he was quiet for a minute, and then he piped right up and he said, "I know what your job is. Your job is to find great kids and love them." So that's what kids feel about her is pretty impressive.
So we asked what Jan's thoughts were as she has been through many years of education and about ready to leave. She said, "I love the people I work with. I absolutely love the kids. And I learned a whole new vocabulary from the playground." The last statement is true in every sense of the word. She is a beautiful human being all the way around. And to sum it up, Jan, this pretty much is how everybody feels about you.
Congratulating Jan, our classified.
Well, thank you. The advantage of being old is I have a lot of family here, so if you'll stand up, I would appreciate it. This is my husband, Steve, and my mom, Laura Holmber's here to support me. Sorry, I'm a crier, sorry. My daughter, Mindy Phillip, who teaches out of Roy High. My sister, Kayla, and her husband, Joe Bedrow, are here. See if I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so my son, Eric Mueller, and his wife, Jenna, is up here, and Avon, their daughter, is a student at Roy High, and Xander is at Roy Junior High. And then my daughter-in-law, Nicole, is here with Ireland and Jeannie that go to Bates Elementaries, and Keith and Liam are somewhere else. Oh, and this is my son Russell in the back. I wondered where you went, Russ. I thought you was ditching me or something. So, and then Mindy's. Oh, I forgot Mindy's kids. Sorry. This is Kingston and Issa, and they'll both be students at Pioneer Elementary. And Issa's there right now. So, and I have my brother Jed Homer and his wife Sherry. Appreciate them. Okay, if I got everybody, I gotta have my Pioneer. Oh, and Allie, my youngest Allie, Westergaard. And then I have to introduce my Pioneer family. So this is Orma Bischoff and Tammy Bischoff and Gerald. And then my super intern principal, Carrie Breeding, is back here. So, and then of course Lori and Kevin are Pioneer family too. So thank you so much.
Congratulations, Jan. And Brian, even though he's not here. Go spend some time with your special mother, Laura. She's special to our family as well. Teacher of the Year Award, Art Hansen and Billy Grills, please.
Superintendent Board, we are so honored and privileged to celebrate one of our Lakers. So Skylar, you come on up. Skylar Kindle, our Teacher of the Year. Let's get it.
This is an exciting time for us. We're standing here with an amazing teacher, one that I have the highest respect and regard for. He received an honor a few months ago as the I Love Teaching Award, and it's so appropriate that at the end of the year that he receives the Weaver School District Teacher of the Year Award. Just want to tell you a little bit about him. And the photos we have right here are from the other day when we last Wednesday, we visited his classroom to let him know that he would be receiving this award. And we love it when there's a class full of kids in there, but when we went there, it was his preparation period. So we didn't get to see all the kids there, and we didn't get to celebrate. However, one young man was sitting in there with Skylar. His name was George. And when Dr. Stevens asked George, do you think this is appropriate? Is he a pretty good teacher? George is a former student, graduated a year ago. He had been Bonneville Student Body President, and he's a first-generation college student attending Utah State as a student ambassador as well up there. So he's just doing an amazing job. He really didn't want to stop talking about Skylar and the impact he's had on him. I mean, he used words like, he's always had my back. He always pushed me. He challenged me. He wrote a lot of letters of recommendation for me. But you could just tell there was a genuine sincerity to every word he said. And it was emotional. Just one student in there, but you could see that impact. And he just barely finished up his first year of college, and he wanted to come back to see a teacher that had such a big impact on his life. And I've had a chance, when we look at what Skylar teaches, he teaches a lot of subject areas, but most of all, he teaches kids. He's a Spanish teacher. He teaches English as second language, or English language learners. And I've had a chance to visit his classes, Latinos in Action classes. And he's also a basketball coach.
If I can interject on that also, this year we had a carnival at Bonneville, and we were all supporting the Bonneville Carnival, and I was visiting with the Latino in Actions kids and asked them how their class was going and how they were doing. And two girls said, this is the first time we felt like we were part of something. And it's because of Mr. Kindle. So that was powerful.
And if I could paint a picture for you, just briefly, in an English language learning class with students that had just recently come into the country in the last few years, or even as recent as a few weeks, with very few English skills. Students from Asia, from Africa, from Central and South America. He had a group of students that were just listening to every word and hanging on every word, and he was just patiently guiding them. And imagine in a high school or any secondary school, as soon as the bell rings to dismiss class, I mean, you have to get out of their way. I mean, they're out, they're running to get out of class. But it was interesting. This was a period right before lunch, and it just said everything to me, because when the bell rang, the entire class stayed there, and I'm just like, don't they have anywhere to go this lunch? Yeah, and they started to pull their lunches out and started eating right there at their tables. Then more kids started coming in, bringing their lunch from his other classes. And all of a sudden his room is packed during lunch. And I said, is this normal? Skylar says, yeah, this is what we do every day. They come in because it was a safe place for these students. They felt so welcome. And you know, we talked about the whole child. I mean, it's one thing to teach a subject to a student, but when you're teaching kids, you care about every aspect of their life. And that's what makes him so special to me when I look at the impact that he has on each kid. He is a mentor to them. He's a coach. I mean, not just a basketball coach, but he's a coach, a life coach for these kids. Challenges them, teaches them to dream big, and think that, you know, builds their confidence so that they can accomplish anything. And I just have a few slides. Here he is involved with their service, Latinos in Action Service projects. Bill mentioned about the carnival, but they go down and read with elementary students. They perform. They get to be themselves.
Art, another great thing the Latinos in Action did was they raised money for the underprivileged families for the Christmas break and to buy gifts. And I have a daughter who attends the school, and she said the Latinos in Action raised more money as a club than any club in the school to help the community. So it's another tribute to Skylar.
And just seeing kids celebrate, they may have been the first person in their family to graduate, but they're not just stopping at graduation. They're dreaming of college, and just like George, a first-generation college student, it's amazing. And think about Skylar is how humble he is, and when you say, "Wow, look at the impact you're having on these kids," he's saying, "No, they have impacted my life. They mean so much to me. They've changed and transformed me." So it's just a neat thing. We've got a wonderful teacher right here, and we're so excited. Bill?
Okay, we used some nice things that were said. Mr. Mitchell, I'm just using a couple of your things, but he wrote a wonderful letter. It says he is a teacher every student deserves, and those who are lucky enough to work with him receive his undivided commitment to their success. He advocates for students like few I have ever seen before. Pretty powerful from an administrator who's been around and been around a lot of teachers. I visited with some kids, and Perla said that you're very patient and you're understanding. Kenan says you're always happy, you're in a good mood, and you care about everybody. Zach says you get to know everyone on a personal level. But Zach went on to say that you had the ability to find what motivated every kid, and Zach was a basketball player, and to push that button to make them play at a higher level. And then this Luce was on the debate team, and one of the rules in debate is you have to have somebody come and judge a competition in order for you to compete. Well, Luce's family just wasn't able to do it. And she said Mr. Kendall sacrificed a weekend to come and judge so I could compete. So, okay. Mr. Bollinger, you coach with Mr. Bollinger, he says your energy has yielded tremendous results on and off the court. As Skylar is beloved by his players, respected by his colleagues, and immensely valued by the coaching staff. You have natural gifts of leadership, motivation, and the ability to treat kids like adults by instilling confidence, accountability, and realistic approaches to situational conversations. And Mr. Dunyan says that he holds you in the highest character of anyone he has ever met. He is truly in the teaching business because of his love and deep desire to see each and every student succeed, and it shows in your passionate way of teaching. He's honored to be associated with a person that influences not only his career every day, but also life and the type of person he would like to be. So, Skyler, we congratulate you. What a well-deserved award. Superintendent, board, everyone in the stand or crowd, let's give him a big round of applause. Take some time and introduce.
Okay, people came out for me. I'm just going to start in the back. My nephew, Peyton. Want to raise your hand, buddy? Stand up, maybe. Okay. Brother-in-law, Kyle. My niece, Addison. Ashley, my sister. And then I think we can jump up a row. Their daughter, Hadley, sitting with my mom. And my dad. So Rick and Susie Kendall. Next to them, my brother, Colby. And my sister-in-law, Cassidy, and my brother, Austin. And then in front of them, there's Kyle Bollinger that I coach with in basketball and spend a lot of time with as well. So, and then Principal Brock Mitchell, and hopefully not forgetting anybody.
Congratulations once again, big hand.
Congratulations, Skylar and Brock again. And if I could just say one thing, there's a reason that we feel so honored to have the teachers and the classified employees. It doesn't matter if you're a first year or a 20, what was it, Jen? It doesn't matter. We have the best that teaches and takes care of our kids that you can get anywhere. And we're so honored and thankful to have all of our staff members that take care of kids. Thank you. So let's give everybody a round of applause again. Board, we have an action item that we need to move to, which would be the approval of the Teacher and Student Success Framework presented by Superintendent Stevens, please.
Thank you, President. Board, during the last legislative session, Senate Bill 149 was passed, sponsored by Senator Ann Milner, and that creates the Teacher and Student Success Program. The essence of this is that money will be directed right to schools, that principals working in conjunction with their faculty, PTA, community council, can develop a plan to provide greater support for their students to help improve academic achievement and student performance. The law requires every school board at the district level to create a framework that outlines how that money could be used. And in your packet is the framework that this board has worked on, and it represents how schools can build their plan in a way that best utilizes those dollars. Ultimately, and it'll probably be in the fall, schools will present to this board their local school plans, and this board will have the opportunity to review those and either make recommendations or approve those. But the bottom line is that their plan must align with the framework that you're passing tonight. The framework that you've worked on that's in your packet is very consistent with what is outlined in legislation in Senate Bill 149, and it's a great framework. I think it provides tremendous flexibility for our schools, but also presents some parameters where that money can be used. And again, the focus must stay around student achievement and increasing student performance. So, Board, I'd recommend take a motion of supporting that framework.
So moved.
Board, you've heard the presentation on the legislative session for the TSSA. I'd entertain a motion. Accepted by Jan, second by Paul. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Board. Next action item, Board, on the agenda would be public discussion and resolution on the acquisition by eminent domain of the non-inclusive easement of ingress and egress to the district's property over the IFA property. Heidi Alder, please.
Good evening, board members. Just by way of background, let me present some facts. As you're aware, the district owns property and maintains 3 parcels along 12th Street in Ogden at 1007 West, 995 West, and 955 West. 2 of those lots are schools, 2 Rivers and Weaver Innovation Center, with a vacant lot in between the 2. Directly west of our properties, also along 12th Street, is a privately owned subdivision held by Intermountain Farmers Association, commonly known as IFA. At the entrance of IFA's subdivision at 12th Street is a traffic signal. 12th Street, as you know, is a 4-lane highway designed and intended for traffic to travel between 40 and 50 miles per hour. Pulling in and out of Weaver Innovations and 2 Rivers has been deemed a clear safety hazard by UDOT, as well as by personal testimony of administrators and students who attend those 2 schools. The distance between IFA's traffic signal and the schools is insufficient to allow us to put in our own traffic signal. The district has sought for several years to negotiate in good faith with IFA the right to access IFA's traffic signal through IFA's subdivision by way of a non-exclusive egress and ingress easement. These negotiations have proven unsuccessful to this point. We believe access to the light is necessary to promote the safety, health, and well-being of students and staff at Weaver's properties. Utah allows this school board to condemn property by eminent domain by taking action in a public meeting. To this end, I propose the board adopt the resolution included in your materials authorizing the filing of eminent domain to acquire a non-exclusive ingress and egress access easement through IFA's property for the purpose of allowing school traffic access to the intersection traffic signal on 12th Street and 1050 West.
Thank you, Heidi. As a courtesy, we would like to open up the floor to any representative that is here from IFA and or a piece of property that may be a portion of this discussion. I would limit it to 5 minutes, and I would also like to, if you would please tell us who you are, how you are representing them, and then proceed, please. Thank you.
Superintendent Stevens, President Ritchie, members of the board, my name is Vince Rampton. I'm an attorney at Jones, Waldo, Holbrook, and I'm done representing IFA here tonight as the landowner. I'll try to keep this to 5 minutes. The law says we do have entitlement to give a reasonable position statement. And so if you'll grant me that courtesy, I won't abuse it. Let me explain why we believe, first of all, that we have not been given a reasonable opportunity to negotiate in this matter. This property was acquired in December 2015. There were informal discussions back and forth. No offer was made until a road had actually been built through to abutting on our property. At that point, in December, I believe, of 2018, one offer take it or leave it, $300,000 was made and pulled off the table before we even had a chance to respond to it before the end of the year. And then 3 months went by, and suddenly we get a packet as required by the statute to condemn the property. But in the meantime, litigation's been going on. This was the other aspect of the problem that we need to address. Litigation started when, I believe on a weekend in January, a fence was torn down, curbstone were removed, and a road was extended across IFA's property. I understand that it was done pursuant to a claim of express easement, but that hasn't been determined yet. So we blocked it up again. And the board's attorneys took it to court and got a temporary restraining order initially. That temporary restraining order has now been dissolved because it was improvidently granted. And IFA is going to be put to the task of moving for an award of attorney's fees in excess of $80,000. Warfare is not the way to go on this situation. We need to come to a more rational solution. To this end, IFA is going to be petitioning to have a mediation before the private property ombudsman for the state of Utah. Try to get this resolved short of that litigation. We would strongly encourage the board to hold off on this resolution until that ombudsman mediation has been scheduled and completed. It makes no sense to be at war. The other problem you've got is that your use of this property must by statute be one authorized by law. Authorized by law is a magic word. You need from the city a proper plat approval. You don't have that yet. It hasn't been applied for. We've been in touch with city officials. You're not going to get to put this road in until you have an approved plat, and it's not there yet. We just think that this has to be looked at, and the problem you're going to have trying to get that approved plat is going to deal with the Americans with Disabilities Act, because you're coming right across the back of parking areas set aside for individuals with disabilities to get into the IFA facility. Before this property was blocked or was opened up, it was a dead-end property. That was not a problem. We had these lots ready to go for disabled persons. But the ADA says that access to a place of public accommodation, such as IFA, must have ADA compliant parking and access. And if this road opens up, those properties become unusable. They become usable for that purpose because the traffic will be too busy. We'd also urge you to consider how thoroughly this plan has been examined for feasibility. We contend it hasn't been. Buses are going to be going in across this property, which was set up as a parking area and as a private commercial area. Not a road. You're turning it into a road. You're going to go right past a fire hydrant that is too close to this road you're creating. I don't think the city's going to let you do that. You're going to wipe out ADA compliant parking, which is either going to shut down IFA or it's going to block your permit. That just makes no sense to do. We would urge that you back away, that you consider carefully what it is you're doing. Take a careful moment to consider this matter, table it, come to a mediation, see if we can't work this out. We're not trying to kill children. And I should add just gratuitously that we're very concerned about the public relations campaign that's been going on around this. It's hurting our business. And frankly, it's hurting our people. The fact is, we're trying to work with you. We understand the concern about the signalized intersection. There are ways to get around that. We're happy to talk to you about them. But this full speed ahead, condemn the property, go to court, fight it out, it's not the solution. We would urge you please to reconsider your position and achieve your time.
Thank you. Anybody else from IFA? Any other property that's involved in this? Seeing none, Board, I would entertain a motion to accept the resolution that you've heard from Heidi Alder. So moved by Paul, seconded by Doug. Any discussion?
I'd just like to comment for a minute. To comment that we haven't listened and tried to solve this problem. I think we've spent 3 years trying to get something accomplished with this. I'm on the Capital Improvement Committee, and the Board of Education has a responsibility to keep children safe. We are not after property, we're not after anything except an easement to the property so that our kids can leave on buses and in cars safely. I've tried, as I've gone to meetings at the buildings, both buildings there, to get across that street, and it is very difficult. The eminent domain request for a right-of-way to an easement is really all we're asking. I know that it's taken a long time. And really what we want is safety. That's really all we're after.
Thank you, Board Member Bullhorn. Anybody else?
You guys keep bringing up the safety of the children.
No, this isn't a public hearing. We don't have a public hearing.
This is the board's meeting.
So I asked if anybody affected by the property was here, so this is ours. Do I have any other board members who would like to make a statement during the discussion period? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution carries. Heidi. Thank you. Next item on the agenda would be the approval of policy 5208, bully policing on, or excuse me, 5201, on a first reading. Heidi Alder, please.
Thanks. The purpose of this policy is to come into compliance with state law as well as Utah State Board of Education regulations, which require school districts and schools to have a bullying policy. Currently, we have language in our student conduct policy that addresses bullying, but in recent months, the State Board of Education has included a number of provisions that are now required of LEAs to have in our bullying policy. 5201 would take out the bullying provisions in 5200 and add to the bullying policy some of the required provisions from the State Board of Education. Specifically, and you have the policy in your material, so I won't go through each and every provision, but just to highlight a few of the required provisions by the State Board of Education. Some of the provisions that are required now in our bullying policy, which are included in this policy, include civil rights violations, investigations, and required training for administrators on conducting investigations. Also, the statutory term bullying has been redefined by the state legislature in the last couple of years, and so we need to update our definitions in the policy and add the term abusive conduct, which is geared towards employees, protecting employees from bullying. We are asking for approval of this policy on first reading.
Thank you, Heidi. Board, you've heard Heidi's presentation on the first reading of policy 5201, bullying policy. I'd entertain a motion to accept. Second by Doug. Any discussion, board? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Heidi. Seeing we've come to the end of our agenda, I guess we must depart. I would entertain a motion to close. Janice. So moved by Janice. Second by Paul. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Be safe. Thanks, staff.